A quiet, nearly invisible high school boy, Ethan, who suffers from selective mutism due to childhood trauma, lives his life as a background character in his school. He's labeled as weird, mute, or the ghost. He observes everything but says nothing until a bold transfer student named Riley arrives, who sees right through his silence. As she tries to befriend him, layers of Ethan's past slowly unravel, revealing the painful secrets behind his silence. But Riley has secrets too. High school isn't kind to the quiet ones. It feeds on the loud, the confident, the cruel. And when you're none of those things, you disappear. I moved like a shadow through the halls. No eye contact, no smiles. Headphones in, volume low. Not because I was listening to anything, but because it gave me an excuse not to respond. I wasn't born like this. I used to talk, a lot. But that was before my brother died, before Dad walked out, before Mom forgot how to laugh. The silence wasn't just something I lived in, it was something I became. Lunchtime, the noisiest part of the day, a war zone of trays clattering, gossip flying, and laughter that felt like knives. I sat in the back corner, like always. Same table, same sandwich, same sketchbook in my lap, where I drew people who didn't exist, because the real ones didn't want me. But that day, someone sat across from me. I looked up. A girl. New. Headphones draped around her neck. Chipped black nail polish, eyes that didn't flinch when they met mine. You always sit here alone. She didn't say it with pity. She said it like she was just curious. I didn't answer, just looked back down at my sketchbook. She leaned over the table trying to peek. Are those your drawings? Still no answer, but I shifted the book slightly, letting her see a page. It was a portrait, a girl in space, hair floating, eyes closed, like she was dreaming far away. She smiled. You're good. Like, really good. You planning to become an artist or something? I looked at her again. There was no mockery in her face, no hidden smirk, just interest. I shook my head, just once, then went back to shading. Well, if you're going to sit alone, mind if I sit alone with you? And before I could nod or shake or even blink, she was unwrapping her sandwich and taking a bite. Just like that. She was there. And something in me shifted. I thought maybe she was just being polite. New kid. First day. Trying not to feel like a freak. But the next day, she sat with me again. And the day after that, and the day after that. She talked, I listened. She laughed. I watched. In the library one afternoon, she slid a folded note across the table. I opened it. "Wanna hang out after school sometime?" My pulse jumped. She was serious, not out of pity, not as a dare, but because she meant it. I wrote one word, my first, to her. Yes. She smiled so wide I thought she might burst. "You just made my week," she whispered. "The last time I said yes to someone, I was 9. My brother had asked if I wanted to ride our bikes to the lake. We weren't supposed to go alone. But he said, 'Just this once, please.' So I said yes. And we went. And he drowned, right in front of me. I screamed for help that never came. My voice cracked and tore until it didn't work anymore. And after that, I stopped using it. For years. Riley didn't know any of that. Not yet. But somehow, without knowing my story, she still found a way to reach the part of me that survived it. We'd sit at the park. She'd talk about her old school, her dog Max, her mum's cooking. Sometimes I'd sketch her. Other times she'd steal my pencil and draw silly cartoons. And sometimes we'd just sit in silence. The good kind. The kind that doesn't hurt. It was bound to happen. Someone noticed Riley spending time with me. One afternoon, a guy from her math class swaggered over to our lunch table. Name was Derek. A walking stereotype, Letterman jacket, loud mouth, empty soul. Yo, Riley. Didn't peg you for charity work. He looked at me like I was a bug on a windshield. What's he got? Superpowers? Or just brain damage? I didn't flinch. I was used to it. But Riley did. She stood up, eyes blazing. He's got more talent in one finger than you have in your whole pathetic body. Derek smirked. Careful. You hang with freaks, people start thinking you're one. She didn't even blink. Good. I'd rather be a freak than a coward like you. He backed off, muttering under his breath. And I looked at her. For the first time in years I wanted to speak, but the words were still stuck in the dark. That night I opened my sketchbook, and instead of drawing galaxies and faceless girls, I drew Riley, not just her face, but her fire, her light, her stubborn, fearless heart, and I wrote 3 words beneath the picture. You saved me. It was strange, how someone could become part of your world so quietly, like sunlight slipping through a window you didn't know was cracked. Riley had done that. Some days I still didn't speak, but she didn't mind. She talked enough for both of us. She'd tell me about old TV shows, songs she hated, and her conspiracy theory that cafeteria pizza was actually recycled. And somehow, even the silence between us felt like conversation. One Friday, she pulled me into the empty art room, said she got permission to stay after class, said she had a surprise. She handed me a box of pastels. Paint something, she said. Something you've never told anyone. I looked at her, confused. But she was serious. So I painted. For the first time in years, I painted not from imagination, but from memory. A lake, still and blue. A boy on the edge, arms stretched out, and another boy in the water, reaching up. Riley didn't ask questions. She just stood there, watching, understanding without prying. She touched my shoulder. Whoever he was, I'm sure he forgives you. My eyes stung, and I nodded. One night we snuck onto the school rooftop. She said she liked being high up. Said it made her feel like the stars were closer. We laid there, backs on the concrete, staring at the sky. Then she said something that froze me. I'm not going to be around forever, you know. I turned to her, confused. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. My heart's kinda broken, literally. She tapped her chest. Got a condition, been in and out of hospital since I was a kid. I didn't move, didn't blink. They said if it gets worse, I might need a transplant, and if I don't get one. She trailed off. Anyway, just thought you should know. She turned away quickly, like she regretted saying it, but I reached over and placed my hand on hers. I still didn't speak, but I didn't have to. In that moment, she knew. I wasn't going to disappear. Not now. Not ever. I had spent years in silence, drowning in it. But Riley, she made it feel like breathing again. And even though the words hadn't come yet, I knew they were getting closer, because sometimes when someone sees your pain, you finally remember how to live. Riley started missing school. 1 day here, 2 days gone. Then an entire week passed, and she didn't show. At first, I thought maybe she just needed space. Maybe she was tired, or busy, or bored of me. But something inside me, something I hadn't felt in a long time, began to ache. Worry. Her locker stayed untouched. The same sticker peeling at the corner, the same books inside, like a place frozen in time. I found myself standing there more than once, staring, waiting, hoping, until one morning, she came back, but she wasn't the same. She smiled when she saw me, but it was weak, forced. Her skin looked pale. There were dark shadows under her eyes, and she walked slower, like every step took effort. She sat across from me and tried to joke, tried to pretend everything was fine. But I saw the tremble in her hands, the way she held her side when she laughed. I reached across the table and wrote on a napkin, "Are you okay?" She stared at it for a long time, then nodded, but she didn't meet my eyes. Between periods, I heard someone shout, "Get help! She's not breathing!" I dropped everything. ran toward the noise, down the hall, past the lockers, my heart pounding like it was going to rip out of my chest. And there she was, Riley, on the floor, her body limp, a teacher kneeling beside her, a crowd gathering, everything blurred, everything slowed. And in that moment, I screamed, that it was loud, desperate. Help her. Call someone. Riley, stay with me, please. My mouth moved faster than my mind, and the words, the ones buried for years, came flooding out. It's strange how pain can break you open, but also bring you back to life. I didn't know if Riley would be okay. I didn't know if I could survive losing someone again. But this time, I wasn't going to be silent. Not anymore. The hospital smelled like bleach and sadness. I hated every second of it. The cold floors, the buzz of machines, the forced smiles from nurses. But I went anyway, because she was there. Riley. She looked small in that bed. Too pale, too still. Her fire dimmed, but not gone. Her mum was by her side when I arrived, eyes red and tired. When she saw me, she smiled gently. You must be Ethan. I nodded. She said Riley had been asking for me. She stepped out to give us space. I stood by the door for a moment, just watching Riley breathe. There were wires and tubes and IV bags, machines that beeped steady and low. I took a deep breath. Hey, I said. One word. Soft, rough. But it was mine. Her eyes opened slowly, and when she saw me, she smiled. Weak, but real. You spoke again. I walked closer and sat down. My throat burned, but I kept going. I never wanted to stop. She blinked, surprised. I kept talking. My brother. He drowned when we were 9. I said yes to him, to go to the lake. I wasn't supposed to. We weren't allowed. She nodded slowly. Tears gathered in her eyes, but she didn't look away. You didn't lose me, she whispered. Not yet. I know, I said, but I was afraid. Still am. Silence settled between us again, but this time it wasn't empty. It was full of everything we didn't need to say. After a while, she looked at me and smiled through her tears. Guess we're both kind of broken, huh? I shook my head. Not broken, I said. Just healing. She closed her eyes, still holding my hand. You think we'll make it out of this? She asked. I leaned closer and whispered. We already are. That day, I told Riley everything. My fears, my guilt, my silence. And somehow, she made it feel okay, like my voice mattered, like I mattered. I walked out of that hospital knowing something had changed, not just in her, not just in me, but in the story we were writing. Together, they told her the heart was ready. A donor. A miracle. The surgery was scheduled for the next morning. They said the chances were good, but not guaranteed. Nothing ever is. That night, I stood outside her hospital room with 1,000 words caught in my throat. For once, I wasn't afraid to speak. I was afraid I wouldn't say enough. I walked in. She was sitting up, wires still tangled around her, but her eyes were alive again. Bright. Fierce. She smiled when she saw me. Thought you'd ghost me, she said. Not a chance, I replied. I sat beside her. I need to say something, I told her. She nodded, serious now. Waiting. I took her hand. You changed me, Riley. I spent years hiding, blaming myself for something I couldn't fix. I stopped living. I stopped being. But then you came crashing into my life like you didn't care how messy it was. You were loud and brave and stubborn. And somehow, you saw me when no one else did. She squeezed my hand, eyes wet with tears. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, I said, but I needed you to know that I love you. Not the kind of love in stupid high school movies. Real love. Quiet, terrifying, patient kind of love. She looked at me for a long time, then smiled. I love you too, she whispered. No pressure, but if I don't make it, you have to carry my sarcasm into the future. I laughed. really laughed. Deal. We sat there in silence, not because there was nothing left to say, but because, finally, we understood Everloft. I waited 6 hours. 6 hours pacing, praying, bargaining with the universe. I thought about my brother, how I never got to say goodbye. This time, I wasn't going to lose someone without fighting for them. When the doctor finally walked out, I couldn't breathe. He smiled. It went well. She's stable. She made it. I sat down, and for the first time in years, I let the tears fall. Riley came back to school like nothing had happened, except now she wore a small silver heart necklace, a gift from her donor's family. We sat under the old oak tree, her head on my shoulder. She looked at me. You gonna keep talking now? I grinned. Only if you keep listening. She nodded. Always. People think silence is empty, but they're wrong. Sometimes silence is where pain hides, but sometimes it's where healing begins. She taught me how to speak again, and in doing so, she taught me how to live.